During the session, you can leave your questions and comments to the Zoom chat box. And after each speaker, we will take time to answer a few questions, and we will have a longer reflection at the end of presentations. So that was the opening part. And now, Margus, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Meelis. I'll try to share now this screen for being able to start. Just a moment. So now you should be able to see my screen, yeah? Is it correct? Yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Margus and I'm representing the company named Bepco. A couple of words about Bepco and its history. So we started 20 years ago, and the Bepco actually was made specially for creating this service for sustainable packaging, for returnable packaging, and then the services. But we were lucky to do it during the designing the process, and the designing the crates also for the whole market. And now we have almost 3 million crates tripping around daily basis in the Baltic market. So they make approximately 70 million trips per year. We have 4 washing plants in the Baltic market, in Tallinn, in Riga, in Vilnius, and also in Kaunas. We have offices open now also in Bulgaria, Sofia, and probably this year we will open the offices in Hungary, in Poland, maybe also in Romania. We'll see how the market will develop. And I try to talk about the whole processes, the designing point of view. I never done it. Hopefully it will be okay for you. I try to talk about process design, how we design the crates for the market, because these are totally new in the world. How we design the service, and what is the result of our, let's say it's 7, I guess. No, it's more. It's 13 years already, probably, the business. And here, the first slide, there are all the members of all these processes I mentioned. Somebody more, somebody less. They were under the organization called ECR, which is the Efficient Consumer Response Baltic, gathering all the major suppliers and retailers, and under this umbrella they kind of solve the problem in the supply chain and in trading. So it's I guess they definitely are in the Europe, but I guess they are in the world, in the other parts as well, in Russia and then some other parts of the world working with the same purposes. So I can't go on. Right here. And this process actually started in 2007 back in Riga, when retailers came together and saying that, hey guys, we have a problem. We have like I don't know, hundreds of different packages coming to our warehouse, and we're trying to put them together. And there are huge problems, so we need to solve it. Let's try to agree one standard of crates with what everybody are bringing their products into the stores, so it could be efficient and we could work with them. And in 2007, all the suppliers said, yeah, why not? That's a good idea. They came to the meeting, and they all had the idea that their own crate system is the best one in the world. So everybody else should use this specific system. And it turned out to be fiasco. So nobody wanted, no competitors didn't want to get the others' crates. So 3 years later, I went with my old business also to Riga, to this ECR conference, and they started the process again. And it sounded me very interesting, because I was dealing with carton packaging before, and I saw that it's going to be no future, because there is so much waste generated with a carton one-way disposable packaging, that this returnable sounds very nice. And the ECR formed a new working group for developing a common standard for everybody, or at least they tried to do it. So there was, I guess, 10 to 15 people from different parts of the supply chain, retailers, logistic company leaders, suppliers, service providers, and so on. So we took time to really visit all the supply chain parts and measure the processes and see the parts of it, and make pictures and analyze how it works, and how the standard should look like. So I have a lot of pictures, so I walk you through them. That the picture shows you very well what was happening in the supply chain in these times. And yeah, that's basically the story. So I will continue to show you. Basically, what we had, like I told, we had approximately 120 different types of crates, different dimension, height, shape, material, like everything. And that was huge problem for the retailer. And actually the problem started to be so bright when the retailer was kind of consolidating, when there was starting to be a retail change, when they consolidate all the flows to one place, to the distribution center. And from there, they distribute products to the stores and back. So only then they started to have this problem, because earlier, when all the producers delivered products directly to the stores, that wasn't so obvious, this problem in the supply chain. Second part was a huge amount of different other packages, one-way disposable plastic, carton, EPS, you name it. So many different packages. And then there was a primary packaging, thousands of them. And what we found out that it's interesting that all the, let's say, packaging designers or engineers were pretty much only considering what's happening in the store shelves and what's happening in the head of the consumer or in the home of the consumer. But they didn't analyze all the supply chain, where the most of the cost is generating, taking the product from producer to the store. In terms of supply chain, is a huge cost, and if you have 1,000 different packaging, there's a never-ending story with car transport packaging. It's basically not possible to make the correct transport packaging for all these products. So these were three main challenges what we were facing. Try to put them together to the one system. So here you see what's happening in the back stores. Most of the crates still in the Europe are rigid crates. So it means that if they are empty, it's not possible to fold them down or put them inside to each other to save the space, returning the flows. So this looked like the back stores and the distribution centers with empty crates. There's a huge pile of them. So this is the truck space. This is because you see the different packaging. It's not possible to put them in on top of each other because of the shape and the material and so on. So this is the garbage what came back. This is the return flow from the shops. It's basically, we kind of saw in distribution centers, the whole factories was sorting the garbage and the material and then returnable crates and so on. And then we found out that in the system there is also because if there's no service, the suppliers are selling the crates and exchanging the crates, so the crates have value. And there is during the transportation or logistics chains, there is a theft of the assets of suppliers. So you could find the websites where some people are selling the big producers crates. They buy with €1, sell with €2. So it's easy. So from the back stores, from the logistics, it's kind of very easy to earn the money. Like let's call it the black market. Yeah, that's also a nice picture of the product flow to the store. So basically, there is a non-Euro standard crates, and the Euro standard crates put it together, not suitable for the products. Even there is 50% air, you can see. So this is another nice picture of efficient delivery. And even if they were using returnable crates, there is an issue with the hygiene. Some of the big companies who are using all kind of quality standards they need to wash their crates. But then there's a lot of companies who actually don't do it. I don't want to be specific, but let's say in fruit and veg, you know, you pick up from the field, or you don't actually produce anything, you just pack them. So you don't wash the crates. So the commonly used crate are really dirty, and they, if you measure it in a laboratory, you can find the colibacteria, listeria, salmonellosis, yeast, mold, whatever can be on the surface of the crates. So this is what also really common picture what we found out. And then we started to analyze. We took all these different products, we took all different needs, all the automatization. We looked into the warehouse processes, conveyor lines, how they handled, and then what products we needed to put into the crates. And we found out that the most critical product is actually dairy product. And because it's the dairy primary packaging is mostly standardized all over the world. If you look at milk, this packaging, this is the same Purapack or Elopak all over the world. In Europe, in the States, in China, in Russia, it's the same, because the Alfa Laval is quite a big one, and they are producing the line for the dairies. And the same thing applies to also to the yogurt cups. These are also the kind of the standard. But the problem is that they are not fitting on the Euro dimension crate. No one in the world. So that was a really big obstacle, because there in 2010 there was already pooling companies and some standard crates in Europe, especially pooling fruit and veg products. But fruit and veg, bakery products, meat products, they are kind of flexible, and there is no problem. They are not so demanding to the crate shape. But the dairy product is really demanding, and to change the primary packaging is basically impossible. But we needed to change the packaging for the transport packaging. So this is the good sample that the crates were designed according to the dairy packaging. Here is a dairy packaging samples. But the problem is that they are not Euro standard. The pallets what are used in the Baltics and Europe in a food supply chain, it's Euro standard. So the crates should be Euro standard for being able to be efficient. So it's a good sample of this Euro standard crate, what you see here. And there are the yogurt cups. So when you put in the carton, the yogurt cups, you could put there 12 pieces. Here you can put only 9. So this is minus 30% inefficiency. So we needed to find a crate for the yogurt cups. What would be suitable? The same thing applies to the purapaks for the milk. We couldn't find in the world the right packaging for these, but would be EU standard, would be volume reducible and suitable for other products as well. And then we looked also the different needs for the retailer, because retailers is ordering the products according to their smallest format or store. So that's why you see pictures like this, because if the producers don't have smaller crates and the order, like SKU, what the retailer is ordering is small, they need to put it in the big crate, and then they deliver a lot of air to the stores. So, and then supply chain costs are really, really high. And the formats are getting smaller and smaller because of the city markets they need to deliver. So we found that there are two different parts of the retail chain, major players, and they have sometimes different, sometimes the same problems. But retailers have more this problem that the different packages from different suppliers should go together, that they could build up the high pallets. Also that that there is a different plastic used, which are sometimes they are not even suitable for the food. Contamination issues, so everybody need to wash the crates. DC automation, there are a lot of automation going on at the moment, especially with the big retailers. So it's also demands the crates should be the same dimension, same sizes. So high cost for store handling, different packaging and losses. So opening the carton packages sometimes can damage also the products itself. So it's a big problem. So then sorting and returning empties, especially with like you saw in the pictures, for the carton, wood, metal, and different one-way disposal plastic. What we found out also that it was good in the Baltics that all the retailers came to ECR and said that, hey, let's agree one standard. We had, of course, one problem where one retailer was asking for special category of products, one type of crates, and the others didn't want to use it. But in Europe, there are a lot of retailers. So basically, most of the retailers they have their own kind of standard. They have choose their own standard. Tesco has one standard, Carrefour another one, Auchan the other one. So the suppliers have a problem that they have to deliver for different store in different crates, because retailers have chosen for their own efficiency their own standard. So that was a problem for suppliers, and we were actually in the lucky stage that we could choose the one that the suppliers have one standard for everybody, and also different amount of different size of the crates that should be standard of different sizes as well. That it could be also good for suppliers. Crates loss, even if you owned the returnable crates, the big problem was the loss of the crates. So because of this black market, so it demands the design of the whole process as well. Okay, and that was also because of the logistic fees and shrink percent in retail was really high. So so we sit down and we kind of all together define what we need to design. So the task was to do optimal common standard. So as you understand, that is not possible to make the standard for all the primary packaging. So we needed to kind of categorize all the products and then make the optimum of it. It should be our dimension. It should be good or very comfortable to handle, durable. because of the cost, food compatible in terms of material, automation, innovation, ready for asset tracking, try to avoid the black market in these terms to find somebody who could develop and design the process and then provide this process, and find the service providers for that. And there was also challenges because around the table there were sitting quite many big suppliers who had their own opinions depending on cost of the packaging and the view of cost in the supply chain. Let's say some producers have designed their own packaging, like some dairies, they have their own packaging, their own returnable plastic packaging, which are not EU standard, but it's completed their needs, and the production is also designed according to these kind of packaging. And they kind of didn't want to see the whole supply chain, that they have to change everything because of the supply chain demand. And that was really good or big challenge for us, how to make them understand that actually it's needed. It's the situation like that. So cost of the single producers versus cost in the whole supply chain, yeah, that's the thing. And also coming back to the packaging, let's say if you wrap film on around, I don't know, milk bottles, instead of putting them into the plastic crate, the cost is different. Wrapping into the film is really, really cheap. It's one way, it's cheap, but putting them into the crates, it's much more expensive. But if you look the whole supply chain, how the product is coming to the distribution center and go to the store, and in the meantime we're picked and put it to the different places. So it's a huge cost for them. So basically we need to understand that the product coming from your production is on the shelf more expensive than the other one, which is in the more expensive packaging. And this is really kind of difficult sometimes to make them understand. Okay, this is a sample of categories and the different products, making the ideas how what should be the dimension of the crates, how many kilograms they should bear, and what is the stability or ratio and so on. So here's the logic of how they should work together. So all the crates should be put it underneath or on top of each other. So they should work like a Lego. And that's the result. What we came up with is kind of 3D prototypes were developed. The British designer, I guess, was the one who designed according to our the ECR needs, not the Bepco needs, but just I need to stress out that this is the ECR standard and this is the ECR crate types, what was developed later by or produced by Bepco, and all the others can also do it. It's kind of a free standard. But we together designed it and agreed it with retailers and suppliers that this should be the common standard. So it's fully cross-stackable, up to 60% volume reducible. Each crate runs well on automated lines. It goes our dolly, our standard pallets. It has a good ventilation for different product needs. Cooling them down as quickly as possible, and then some products can be displayed right on the shelves with the crates, and the crates have also RFID ready. So basically, that's the way how it looks now in the Baltics. The flow, of course, it's not 100% achieved at the moment with the fresh food, but I believe it's close to 50 now already. That you can load full truck with really efficient pallets. So here are the products what are optimized to different crates. So milk, meat, fish, tomatoes, fruit and veg. So the same. It's a little bit higher crates, more products inside. This is the milk crate. It's also optimized. It's not perfect, but it's optimized for according to the weights. Now also the weight can't be higher than 15 kilograms, what people lift daily basis, especially women in the stores. And some retailers are also demanding even less, 10 kilograms maximum into the crate. So these are eggs. This is the smaller SKUs, different, more expensive products, different taste, which is less sold. So basically, yeah, this is the mix of the products, different products. One dairy producer can deliver all their products with the same standard of the crates, different sizes, and put it on the same pallets. Basically, the truck authorization, which is now from 50% up to 80%, because 30% of winnings, even sometimes even more. This is RFID innovation. It's not actual at the moment. All the crates are ready. They have tags inside the crate. So we are working on the gates infrastructure now. Hopefully this year we can implement also this one, that we can run totally automated, paperless supply chains. And this is the service what we are providing. Of course, there was a lot of behind that what kind of service, who will provide it, and we were looking with different service providers. I mean, the working group that there won't be kind of a monopoly. Of course, it was in the beginning because Bepco was the only one who made the investment to the plastic molds. One mold cost is 100,000 euros, so it's not a small cost. For being able to produce 10 different types of crates, you need to invest at first 1 million euro. So it's quite big money. One of the biggest European service provider, IFCO, was also in the Baltics, but they said right away that forget about it. We have our own foldable crates for fruit and veg. If you want it, you can take it. And they left. So at first there was Bepco alone. Now there is also the competitors working also with the same standard, and competition comes. So it's kind of a normal evolution. So what we do, we invested to the crates as many as our supplier or our clients need. They order the crates according to the needs. They put the products in, they send to the retailer, and they forget it. So we will gather all the dirty crates from the retailer, we will wash them, and we will put them ready for the next trip. So basically what supplier can do is they can order the packaging whenever they need, how many they need, and if they don't need, they don't have this cost, they don't have anything to do with it. And these are the results. This is Oscar, is one of small meat producers in the middle of Estonia. So at first they didn't believe that they can win anything about it, but just the owner of the company was kind of into this returnable packaging and no waste, and some things were interesting for him as well, as RFID and so on. But after 12 months, they said that they have returning efficiency 2 times. They could win from the transportation quite much, and they have 100% more products on pallet place. It means that they had the big crates before, like 600, 400, 180. This E2, this is common standard for the meat in Europe. But the problem was that the SKUs, what retailers ordered, was small, and the crates were half empty. So they could put more products on the pallet. No take capital, so they don't need to buy any crates. They use it as a service. It's flexible. In midsummer, they need some 2 times more crates than usually, so they don't have to invest in it. This is one of the biggest dairy producer in Estonia. And their winnings came from logistics efficiency. So they especially returning the crates, empty crates from the retailers. They want 2 trucks per day, I guess, if I remember correct. but also the other things, and no tied capital, and they could spend the capital to their business, to commercial things. Better cooling, less productions, and so on. So basically, yeah, this what we kind of believe that this standard, the process, standard grades, and the process what we have developed here in the Baltics, it's kind of a unique. And the main reason is the dairy products. So it means that retailers can solve the whole product flow with one type of crates. So we are replacing now almost 70 million one-way disposable packaging in 2021. So it's 14,000 tons carton waste per year. And one plastic crate, what we are producing, we are gathering back everything. All the broken crates are coming back to us. We are grinding them, making the same crate. So it's upcycling, yeah, the correct term. And basically this piece of plastic, 600 grams, can live forever. And this is the other numbers. We calculated it together with one retailer in Estonia. These numbers are huge. We were even a little bit scared to show them to the public because these are so huge that you even can't believe it. So we have 340 million kilometers delivered products and returned crates in the Baltic market every year. So it means 50 million pallet loadings altogether. And we consider only this product, only this crate and the service can make you win 30% of this logistic cost and different in production, in warehouses, in transportation, in working hours. So it means that the winnings in the Baltic, if we can do 100% of the local fresh flows in returnable packaging, we win 100 million kilometers per annum. It means 20 million liters of diesel. It means that one truck is taking 20 liters per 100 kilometer. Yeah. So we can lose 680,000 trucks per year from the roads of the Baltic states. We can decrease 23.5 million pallet loadings. It means 390,000 man hours per year. So these are huge numbers. But these numbers are everywhere. We will be tied, to make them together and make it understand and make it feel the difference. It's you need to be bold enough to do that, because everyday things are burning. So it's a long way to go. We have done it in 7 years. So, but we are in the middle of the way, and there are a lot of obstacles. Why not to do that? But that's the fact now. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Margus. Do we have any questions? Everybody is so quiet. It's okay. I think I will leave numbers. Yes, I think I will leave my questions in the end, so we can go on at the moment with Peter now. Please, Peter, share your thing. And open your microphone.
Can you see the presentation?
Yeah, we can.
Yes? Okay, great. Well, thanks for having me. I would have loved to be in Estonia, but I do wear my cool Estonian circular t-shirt from Red House. So, Yeah, I will tell you about Kiezkaufhaus. We found out earlier on that it's very hard to pronounce. It would translate into something like a shopping mall in the neighborhood, because that's what we build. We are a digital creative agency in Germany. So we didn't, before this project, we didn't have anything to do with logistics, and we didn't know anything about it. I think that's important to note. And we are about 140 people, and we're working here in Wiesbaden in Germany, which is near Frankfurt, and in Berlin. And we are an independent agency, and as you will find out, that's pretty important for the project I'm about to show you. Next to doing digital work, we do a lot in the field of sustainability. We started this like 10 years ago when we became climate neutral ourselves. And we do communication for a lot of big brands, also developing products, branding, but also circular economy concepts. But another thing we're doing is, yeah, you might say activist work. So we're not only working for NGOs, but also have some projects, especially in the city where we live ourselves in Wiesbaden, where we try to have an impact on politics, have an impact on the way that public space is used. So we care a lot about the surrounding that we live in. One thing, for instance, is bikes. Wiesbaden was voted officially the most bike-unfriendly city in Germany, which is quite a thing to achieve. So we did quite some activist work, built apps, for instance, for our own employees. So if they come by bike and instead of with a car, they get extra holidays and stuff like this. We even tried to implement a kilometer that you go by bike as a currency in the city that you could buy stuff with. But we learned how politics work in cities that way. So that really didn't work out. But there's a lot of those kinds of projects going on. Another thing that we care a lot is how the city works, especially when it comes to shops. We all, I don't know if you live in cities, but we all know that it's very hard for small shops to survive in cities. And then they tend to look like this. These are pictures from Germany. And we had this problem in Wiesbaden as well. And then cities look like this. Only the big chains are able to pay the rents and to survive in the city centers. And that's why this could be any city in Germany, because they all look the same. And all these small shops, they go away. And not the only, but one of the reasons is this e-commerce and online shopping. This is how it looks like in our agency in the entrance around Christmas, when all our employees start to buy that stuff with Amazon. And of course, it's very convenient. We all do it, but all this stuff we used to buy in small shops in the cities where the books and other things are anyway. But part of this has been delivered from Poland within 12 hours. And sometimes, as we just heard, these trucks are not even full. So there are lots of problems here. Also the returns, 800,000 returns just in Germany on every day, creating 400 tons of CO2 just because people buy stuff online and then afterwards they find out that the shoes have the wrong size. This is Wiesbaden. It's actually pretty nice. It's not the center of the universe, but it's a nice city to live in. And every year, Wiesbaden loses corporation tax of €500,000, which is a lot for a city of that size. This is not Wiesbaden, this is Luxembourg. This is where the headquarters of Amazon are located. This, according to a Guardian article, was the sales income of Amazon Europe, only Amazon Europe in 2020. And this is the amount of taxes they paid. So something is wrong with this picture. This is one of the small shops that we love very much in Wiesbaden. They're selling tea and herbs and stuff. And of course, these two people running it are not able to even buy or build up an e-commerce and delivery system. Also like this small vegetable shop. So we thought, well, is digital the problem? Is e-commerce the problem, or could it be the solution? So that's what we did. We actually built a shop, a warehouse for all these small shops. It's a single e-commerce platform where 20 or 25 shops finally were connected to. And as a consumer who's not able to, on a Wednesday afternoon, to go along all these shops and buy, let's say, your vegetables here and your cheese there, and then get it to another shop to get the book, you can do this online. And we do all the rest. We do the platform, we do the delivery, and I will tell you about it, how that works. So this is our delivery system. In the beginning, we worked with old people who are not on the job anymore, would like to contribute something to society. So we had a small fleet of e-bikes, and they were actually doing this logistics service, climate neutral. And the platform was originally planned as something that the city should run, because we are a creative digital agency. We do digital transformation for clients and advertising and design and stuff. We don't know anything about logistics. We just wanted this to be there, wanted to build, but didn't want to run it. Problem is that cities are not that much into taking risks like this. They also think that this is something that private business should do. So the basic idea behind Kiezkaufhaus, we have this e-commerce platform where customers can buy at a single stop at all these different stores. We connect the merchants and the producers to that platform. And of course, there are several of those. And then we have a cargo bike-based courier driver who gets the stuff from the merchant. We reorganize everything and then deliver it to the customers in the city. And when we started this, we were even faster than Amazon. We were able to deliver stuff until 5 o'clock in the evening, when people put their orders until 2 o'clock. So this was a really tight, small logistics concept with a lot of paper and not too many computers, I can tell you. So there was a lot of prototyping done here to get this done. So when we found out that the city was not prepared to actually run this, we decided to do it on our own. So we were running the platform, we were also doing the logistics ourselves. So this is how it looked like in the agency. On the lower left image, you see, for instance, one of our art directors doing the repackaging of sausage and cheese during lunchtime, so we can deliver the stuff to the clients. And as you can imagine, as an agency who doesn't know anything about this, we had to learn a lot, which didn't have to do anything with graphics or digital work. So this is how the shop looks like. We didn't want to look at like a normal e-commerce shop with all these tiles. These are actually just photos from the actual shops where you buy, because normally people make it to go to their beloved vegetable store once a week, so they know exactly how it looks like. So they actually have an image of it, and they can just point with their finger and say, I want this banana, or I want this tomato. This is this herb shop that I showed you earlier on. This is how their page looked like. This is one of our famous bakeries in the city. This is how their online presence looked like. So it's actually just a photo of the interior. Flowers, small everyday stuff, books, where we had everything in the store. And because it was very local and very regional, we could also implement features like this. So if you know a store and maybe on a normal Saturday you go there, you know that they might have more to offer than the stuff they have in the online store. You could just write them a note and say, well, I want this and this, and maybe you can put into the package something else. And because the contact was so close, and most of the time people even knew each other, it was possible to implement a feature that would be impossible, of course, on Amazon. So these are all the small shops, and these are the people. And this is a big learning. If you deal with big chains, big corporate chains, of course, it's quite easy because they have people who don't do anything else than making those kinds of deals. These are the owners of small shops, and most of the time they are working in the shops themselves. Some of these shops didn't even have a laptop or a computer, so we had to send them the orders by fax. So it's a lot of talking and helping people who don't know anything about e-commerce and logistics to get this off the ground. It's a very nice part of the work, but of course it's very, very hard as well. We even had a pop-up store where we collected the coolest products of all these shops and had a shop of our own in the city center to get the public into contact with Kiezkaufhaus. We had big parties where the crowd, the community could meet with the producers, for instance. This is also on the premises of the agency here in our garden, where we had these parties going on. We won an awful lot of awards with this. This was not the reason why we did it, but it was appealing. We started this 2015. and not only creative awards, but especially green tech or green or sustainability awards, which was not nice. A lot of press, even television. But of course, we're not the only one. At a certain point around 2018, 19, there were more and more delivery service from the big supermarket chains coming in. So we felt like, well, maybe we were early, but we're certainly not as strong at these big players. But there was also interest from other cities, which was nice. So after we did Wiesbaden ourselves, there were other cities of Germany coming in and said, well, we would like to have a service like this. How does it work? What kind of learnings did you have? And can we use your software? Which was an issue because the software we built, the shop was not built to scale. We never wanted to build a startup. We're totally not interested in buying out or getting rich with this. So the software simply was not able to handle several cities. So we had to rewrite and redevelop it, which would cost a lot of money. Luckily enough, the state of Hessen, where we live here in Wiesbaden, got interested and said, well, I think this is a good project. So they wanted to fund it, but everybody who's familiar with public funding, it also means that you have to put yourself also at least the same equivalent of money into the project to get funding. But finally received it. It helps, of course, that we have a green Minister of Economic Affairs in Hessen from the Green Party. So they kind of got the idea and said, well, this is worth funding. We put up a team of 8 people to rebuild the software and to rebuild the whole service. And we gave ourselves a manifest. And an important thing is, as I said before, we didn't want to start a startup. We didn't want to have that typical investments coming in, millions of euros poured into a startup and then just to sell it off. We wanted to do something that is has in the focus the quality of life in the city. We wanted to think and act very, very regional. And we wanted to start a kind of a movement, not necessarily against Amazon, but a movement that is like favoring local thinking and favoring products and cycles that are already in the city and don't have to be brought there from a global player. So after almost a year of redevelopment, Kiezkaufhaus 2.0 opened up. So this is how the website looked like. There's a lot going on under the hood. We had to change, for instance, also the design of the product representation. It was just not efficient enough to have this only one key shots. We had a slick mobile interface, which the first version didn't provide. And we put a lot of effort also in the use cases and the processes of the dealers and the merchants, but also the drivers, the e-bike drivers. And also when it comes to payment, which cost us a lot of pain also. This is a flowchart just to give you an idea of one single order from one consumer in different shops, because they all have all these shops have their own like financial systems. They have their own way of writing bills and how they do their financial bookkeeping. So it was very complex to connect this in a way that it's convenient for them, because they only have 1 or 2 people in the shop and they can't take care of this themselves. And luckily enough, we had another city jumping in, Bad Honnef, a small city in the north of Hessen. They said, well, we want to have this from the very beginning when the new software is online. And in Bad Honnef, something worked that never worked in Wiesbaden, where we live. They actually built and bought this as a public infrastructure. They understood that this is something that the city has to offer to their small shops to support them, and not something that is run by a business itself. So the people you see here, they're actually working for the city. They have a small office, they have the drivers, they have their own communication, and this is still running there also. So in a way, we thought we have like the wind in our backs, but also after these 5 years, we had invested an awful lot of money. And in the beginning of 2020, we had to stop, or let's say pause, the Kiezkaufhaus here in Wiesbaden, because until this moment, we invested 800,000 euros into this project, which is more than Amazon pays in taxes in Luxembourg. So we are a medium-sized company, and this was just going above our possibilities of investing in such a project. And there are a lot of reasons why things worked and why things didn't work. One of the main things is we planned on 40 orders in the city in Wiesbaden per day, and we only got an average of 10. And also there's a reason for that. We had a lot of shops in the platform with organic food, of course. That's more expensive than others, but it was important to us to support organic shops. People ordered more with a higher check and a higher investment than we expected, but we just didn't reach the amount of orders per day that we needed. And another, and the core thing is, as I said before, we never wanted to be this a private business of ourselves. We never wanted to earn these 800,000 euros back. We never expected to. This was an investment that we wanted to do, but we couldn't go on investing that kind of money. We always thought this should be a public infrastructure, because if you want your city to look like this, then maybe it's okay to go on. But if you want to have different kind of commerce, different kind of merchants in your city, you probably have to support them also in a modern way, for instance, with the digital infrastructure. Because the roads that these trucks ride on, this is public infrastructure. The internet cables in the ground that e-commerce and large platforms are running on is public infrastructure. So why shouldn't be a digital platform be a public infrastructure? But this was a hard sell to cities. And again, in Bad Honnef, they do it like this, and we still have the hope that cities take the step, but we were simply not able to finance that anymore. And then the pandemic came. We stopped the shop just a few months before the pandemic. And then, of course, a lot of people ask us, well, this would be the perfect product to help small business survive the pandemic, so why can't you start up again? And we said, well, but it can't be on us to solve that problem and invest so much money again. But we did something, and this actually is still working. So we took the platform part of it and took out the shop and just left the logistics service. And we developed a small logistics software. And actually this was funded then also from the city of Wiesbaden, which was nice, with a few $1,000. So this is a very simple app, and it only organizes the logistics between the merchant and the courier driver. And the customers order directly, sometimes just by phone, by the merchant, say, I would like to have this and this and this. And they have to figure out themselves how they pay it. But then it can be delivered with cargo bikes. This is how the software looks like. A customer never sees this. This is just for the merchant and for the driver. It's a real-time application. It works very well. It's very slick and lean. We also created a small advertising campaign in the city to show people where we are in the middle of a pandemic, and the small shops, on the one hand, they need our help, but also it's quite easy to buy at the small shops, even in lockdown. This was during lockdown in Germany. So this is today. We still have 2 drivers, and they can make a living by this service just using this app. And the small shops are happy that we are still doing this. This is called Emily. That stands in Germany for Emissionsfreier Lieferservice. So what's the future of us? Of course, we learned a lot from this, especially when it comes to this very, very small regional communication, for instance, with people in the city. So one thing we're doing, a project that we're still running, is dealing with air quality. This is a display service where we collect air quality data and display it to citizens. We have built a wearable system that citizens can measure themselves what the air quality, especially when it comes to Feinstaub and Stickstoff. I just don't know the translation right now. And see, so this is a citizen science project. And this at the moment is a big success case. It's the last thing I want to show you, just to show that we learned something also from Kiezkaufhaus. On one of the first slides, I showed you this idea of giving people an incentive to go by bike. And we still do this in our company with extra holidays. But 10 years ago, we wanted the city of Wiesbaden to go along and use kilometers driven by bike as a currency. And now for a year, we actually have this up and running with a partner Deutsche Bahn, which is German Rail. We redeveloped this app together with them. And now you can actually pay for a coffee or an apple or small stuff in the city if you just show them your kilometers. And whenever all the people together drive like 10 or 20,000 kilometers, they get like a bigger thing, like a bike repair station at the main station in Wiesbaden. Just a few weeks ago, we cracked the 1 million kilometers in Germany. We have more than 12 cities up running. This is an actually working business case. Deutsche Bahn has 3 people working on this right now. Of course, the business case behind this is also collecting mobility data to rebuild bike systems in cities. So data is a very important part here. And just a few weeks ago, we won the German Sustainability Award in gold with this project. So yeah, a lot of learnings from Kiezkaufhaus and the other stuff went into things like this. So the message here is failure is hard, especially when it costs that much money. But I think we could use a lot of that experience in projects that actually work also as a business case. So that's it from me. And I'm also very happy for questions and discussion. Back to Meelis.
So do we have any questions from the audience? Quiet as usual. Okay. So I have a question for you, Peter. We do have such kind of service in Estonia run by Bolt and Volt. Those are kind of, you know, as you said, the software services. They are providing the platform and it's doing and the drivers and it's, I think it's working quite well. But in your case, you use the electric bikes, yes, yeah, for delivery, yes. Do you think how do you think those would work in the more Nordic climate with a lot of snow and and ice on the streets?
Well, I actually don't know. We would have been happy if we could have distributed this and rolled out in Germany, where it would work quite well. We had one rough winter where it was actually too dangerous to go with the bikes, and we had a small electric smart vehicle that we could use. And of course, you can discuss the climate effects of batteries in electric cars, but it's actually better to drive around with trucks. So I actually can't tell you if that would be suitable. But again, we never even dreamed of to distribute or to roll this out internationally into different climate zones.
Because as I see, the bike was the essential part of the service, of the identity of your business case.
Yeah, in the beginning it was like because nobody was driving a cargo bike in the city, so that was also like a piece of advertising for us. But of course, in the meantime, a lot of people have cargo bikes. The main case for us was you can buy stuff that you love, especially when it comes to food, with small stores that you love, and you can do it with the same convenience as you can order with Amazon. That was like the message and the thing. That is also, food was the most important products. So sometimes people bought books, even musical instruments and other stuff, but of course food is the thing that keeps the thing running. So small shops, organic food, stuff where you know where it comes from, that was like the central pitch. The other things around it, like it's an online shop, people find this pretty normal, that there's an online shop and also that it gets delivered to you. It's the hard part of the business, I can tell you, the very, very hard. We had to learn a lot about that. But we found out that people don't use this service because they want to do something for the climate. They don't even do it to do something for the small shops. They do it for the nice products they get, which is totally okay. It's okay.
Did you own those bikes, your company?
Yes, we still do, yeah. They're driving around today, yeah.
Okay. And then Margus, are you there? No.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Does anyone Oh, somebody is asking from Peter. Okay. What is the biggest challenge when implementing the sustainable project like the one with the Deutsche Bahn?
You need to find crazy people on the part of Deutsche Bahn, because there are a lot of questions that you can't answer. So you need crazy people who say, we want to have this. The advantage with Deutsche Bahn is that they are considered in Germany to be a sustainable business themselves. I mean, it's train. It's not completely climate neutral, but they're doing a very good job. So it kind of fits with their brand. And again, they don't earn any money with it. It's an ecosystem. So the small shops, they provide the small incentives. So if you get a coffee not for €3 but for €2, that's actually something that the small shop pays, because they get it's like an advertising for them. Of course, Deutsche Bahn has a big reach, and for Deutsche Bahn, the basic business behind it is data, mobility data, and as a big mobility provider, of course, that's interesting for them. So you have to find the craziness. Mostly is about idealistic reasons, but then of course you also have an idea on can this at least finance itself, so nobody just has to pour money into it. And we learned a lot about that with Kiezkaufhaus, where it didn't quite work out, but with this project it works out.
Yeah, I believe this has a very good publicity value for the Deutsche Bahn, so it's kind of acting like an advertising for the green goals.
Yeah, but also in their specific case, they have an interest that people also go by bike to train stations. Running parking lots around train stations is a pretty stupid way of dealing with such valuable space in the center of cities. Train stations, at least in Germany, are always in the center of cities, and you have to provide that kind of car-based mobility around that last mile or the traffic away from the station. So there are also quite opportunistic reasons for Deutsche Bahn to do this. Yeah. Of course, it's image, you're right, but they're not only doing this for idealistic reasons. There are other reasons as well.
So I have one question for Margus, and as I understood, you mainly deal with the fresh products, like with the products that have a very short best before date. Yes, is it correct?
Yep, correct. It's milk, it's dairy products, it's bread, it's meat, it's fruit and veg.
Okay. So do you what are your plans for the future? Do you plan to expand into dry goods category, or how do you see it?
No, the dry good and also the e-commerce, which is similar. They are the most difficult products, and they need to be sold a little bit different. I guess there is no good solution in the world. So there are some initiatives, but there are no good solution for that. We have an idea what we are doing next, and it's called Ringo Eco, which is the same thing what we do in transport packaging for food products. We are doing the same thing now in the primary packaging. So basically, all the plastic one-way disposable packaging, which is in fruit and veg, salads, all the slices of meat or cheese or everything, the food, fast-moving food, what is in the plastic now in disposable, it can be put in the returnable plastic. So, and the Ringo is a new business what we do, and this is solving that problem. And the most genius thing, I think, what we do there is that you can give back your returnable primary packaging where you consume it. So basically, we believe that we will put beside every garbage container, our container, where you can choose to put all the returnable packaging. You don't have to travel around the city and put it somewhere, but we come to you. We come to all the office spaces. We have 20 20 office buildings now in Tallinn already, equipped with all these containers inside their kitchen in the office. And they will take their returnable packaging, what they order from Wolt or Bolt, and they put it in there. And the cleaning lady will take, together with the garbage, with the different bag, and they will put into our big container, what is beside the garbage container. So we do the same like Ragn-Sells or somebody else, but we just return the packaging back to the restaurants and bars, and soon also to the retail chains who will package all the coffee inside, salads, everything.
Okay, and then the next question I have for you is I saw on the supermarkets that you have covered some milk shelves very well. I don't see much of your transport cases in the bread sector, for example, I think.
There are some companies already who are using our boxes, like Eurolab, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah? That's correct
yes, Eurolab, yes.
Yeah, and
but how do you see what would it take to get them working with you?
It takes some time.
Okay.
Because they are delivering directly to the stores. So
okay.
that's why they don't have problem with the retail at the moment.
Okay.
And we have a lot of to do with dairy and meat, fruit and veg, and the others.
Okay.
So, but we are glad to serve all the bread producers as well, and we will go to them sooner or later to provide our services. That's for sure.
Okay. And how would you get those dairies to work with you that don't work with you at the moment? Like, you know, Vali or Alma?
That's a good question. Yeah, we have been trying to work with them. They are one of these big companies who have their own production lines, who have their own crates. Of course, they use some of the disposable one-way carton. It's so specific with Vali or Alma now you ask. So I don't know at the moment the good answer. Sometimes it's the time. They need to see, and they need to burn out their old packaging or something, you know. And yeah, sometimes it is that they don't want to see the whole supply chain, because this is specifically the crate, which is it is really hard. But I understand it's hard for them also to change. That's not so easy.
Then we had one more question from Catalina. What do you take into consideration when entering a new market? Have you been entering new markets lately? Like new countries? Margus?
Yeah, we opened last year office in Bulgaria, in Sofia.
And what was the challenge there?
I don't know at the moment. It's going quite smooth. All the big retailers are quite happy. They are kind of they are welcoming us everywhere. So they say that there is no service like this, and yeah, we are feeling tailwinds. But the first quarter shows us is it really happening what we expect now? I believe the most difficult market would be, let's say, Poland, because there are huge companies, big producers, big supply chains, automized quite a lot, and they are using carton a lot. One-way disposable is really heavily used over there. To convince them to start to use it, it's going to be difficult, because you are changing huge productions, and to make decision you have to believe that you are capable to do it. You have enough capital, you have enough experience, you have already enough infrastructure built it So all these logistics and warehouses and washings and the crates itself, to invest the crates. So I don't know, in medium meat company in Poland, they are using million crates. It's 5 million euros, easy.
So I think the answer to Catalina would be that it's easy to start with a small country, and it's much more difficult to start with a very big country, because you have to invest a lot to even start there.
Yeah, and you can start, but start product by product or piece by piece with the small steps.
Okay.
But sometimes in our business it's really hard with big retailers, because they want to see right away the efficiency in terms of 6 months at least or something. So it's.
I would have a question.
Yes, please.
Margus, would it make sense to use these crates also for consumers? Because it could actually be a shopping basket. So if I could take this at home and use it even to store stuff and return, for instance, glass to a store, is that something that you think about to include the consumer into that ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, we have developed actually e-commerce crate specifically for this e-commerce company who are delivering food products to home. So they can use one crate to deliver to home. They don't need to use inside the crate so many one-way disposable packaging, and they can take the crate in the home, so you can keep it there and you can give it back. So we will take it back, we will wash it, and we will give it also back to the retailer or the distributor. Is it company like you or yours or Bolt or Volt or whoever, or these retailers, e-commerce companies? Yeah, they all can use it for sure.
Yeah, because a lot of people now are buying plastic crates to organize stuff in their basement from IKEA, and that doesn't make any sense. If you would have your system, it would be part of that ecosystem and just floating around. And one thing that we found out with this, we had this, of course, organic shopping bags with our logo on it, and people actually keep them at home. They use it also to shop at the supermarket, which is kind of crazy. But it would be a piece of branding of your clients in the customer's home, where they have the stuff and said, this is where I bought it. And it's like part of my own private ecosystem as well.
Shopping bag is the issue, what we also looked into. The problem is that you need to, if you want to cross-use it, return and use it. So you need to make it hygienic. You need to clean it somehow. So then if it's a durable plastic bag or something, it needs to have separate washing line that it could be washed and dried after that. So it's difficult. But I guess with the textile one, you can live.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we don't have any more questions from the audience. So I think we can finish today's session. Yes. Maybe Kerli wants to say something more.
Actually, I do have a question to Peter. I was just starting to think that when you have now analyzed the Kiezkaufhaus project, and you mentioned that it was not your plan to scale it, but however, I think it's very important that we create those pilots and we try to test out these new models, but there has to be a business in it. So I'm just thinking, in what systems would it work business-wise? I mean, you also mentioned that the city refused to fund it. So did the small shops have to pay to be a part of it? And when it would be like a scalable model, let's say you can go to other cities and other countries with it, like would it then be profitable without any public funding? Yeah.
There's one way in Germany, it's called Genossenschaft. I'm just thinking about what that would be in English, something like the commons, but then like a business model based on this. So when a lot of people, for instance, a lot of small like farmers own one machine. What's that called in English?
Good question.
Well, in German, please put it in the chat if one of the German people in the audience knows that. But that's a principle that was even done in the Middle Ages. So if farmers couldn't afford to buy a certain machine, for instance, to process their produce, they bought it together, even if they were kind of
like joint owned. Or...
Joint owned, yeah, exactly. So this was a concept that we followed for a while. So the idea would be that Kiezkaufhaus is mainly a playbook. It's just a playbook for how to implement Kiezkaufhaus, because then you wouldn't need a startup or a big digital machine to provide this. So the software developed once would be for free. We as an agency would only keep one part of that ownership, because we would like to maintain the brand and the basic values of the system. And then every shopkeeper could buy one stock of that system. So they would actually earn a piece of the software, local software, and a piece of the logistics system. And that is probably something that they could pay for. It's not that easy in Germany to set up a business concept like this. But that would be a direction. If we would have gone on, that would certainly be something, because we talk to so many people from cities, and they're all interested. They all find this very cool and funky. But the moment they say, well, this will cost you to implement, you actually have to hire people to drive bikes, and you will own e-bikes. This is something that people in the city don't want to hear. But small shops, if they get like a system, they say, well, the system itself, it works, and you just have to pay the part that you actually use. That could be a business model that works, and especially decentralized, because what would be charming about that you don't get a centralized system with one company owning it, because they get corrupted in a way or the other at a certain point. It's always like this, like Google or Facebook. They all told us they want to bring the world together and do good and everything, but at a certain moment, money becomes bigger. So we think it is important that it's not one company running this, but like a federal system. Oh yeah, a cooperative. Thanks.
Yeah, cooperative. Yeah, similar word.
That would be. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Margus, actually, and also I have one question for you too. You showed us amazing numbers in the end, like impressive results that you have gathered, and it's always, yeah, when you have the numbers already, it's good to have more and more people on board, or to expand your business. But you said you started out 7 years ago, and you also mentioned that there were times where many partners didn't want to come on board, or weren't like sure about your business model. So I'm just wondering, how at these moments did you ever have the time when you thought that it's too hard or too costly, or also like were there doubts? And another question now is that I was wondering, are there any EU regulations that actually now support the way that you run your business, that it's easier nowadays?
No, actually not. Not in transport packaging. EU legislation is coming to one-way disposable plastic, this consumer packaging, but not for the transport packaging. But the answer is no. It was so exciting. We even didn't believe in the second that it wouldn't fly. You know, that's amazing. And this Ringo project is even bigger. It's even bigger. It's 100 times bigger. So it's so huge and so fantastic what's going to happen in coming 5 to 10 years. That's going to be amazing. Even if it won't be like Ringo is now believing or Peter is doing at the moment, somehow it will change everything. So that's for sure. So because there is a lot of funding and a lot of enthusiasts doing the different projects, like you said, you know, you have to try, you have to go after every possible way to make it better, you know, make it more sustainable. That's for sure. Because this is what is happening at the moment in your garbage bin or in some supply chains. It's awful. You see the numbers, you know, it's like sometimes you don't just understand why there are still people who, if you go to the negotiation, they say to you, show me the money. Don't talk about sustainability. Show me the money. So what? How? But still, you know, there are old habits and the systems and the analytics in the stock markets are asking efficiency and winnings. So there is no for sure. I believe the increase of the prices will be definitely in coming 5 years quite a heavy topic, because we now have to pay back all these garbage what we have generated. You know, that's for sure. We cannot go on like this. All the energy, packaging, everything, it should be changed, and it's coming on cost of something. It's not cheaper than we are doing now. But this is amazing. This is interesting.
That's great. I mean, I can see 100% your enthusiasm, and you will definitely succeed.
Hope so.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So that's it then. Let's meet at the next how-to session.